Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's Geeking Out episode 233. We've been doing this a long time, I get my numbers mixed up. So
it happens.
This week, let's get to some more comic book reviews, starting off with Alpha Big Time #1.
Can I just say that I think it's really great that we're starting with Alpha?
Like, I should end with Omega?
I wish that we could. That would make me really happy. Okay, so Alpha Big Time picks up a little bit after where Alpha ended off. So
everyone's dead.
They did a really, really great job of introducing you to Andy Maguire, who is Alpha. They give you they give you two cohesive backstories of what's happened to him and where he is now.
That's generally a good thing.
Yes. So the first page when you open is the little blurb. The second and through fourth pages, I guess, are all in comic, here's what you need to know. What you guys need to know for the purposes of this is that Alpha was on a school trip to Horizon Labs, and he was hit by Peter Parker's particles.
That just sounds wrong.
Yes. So, after being hit by particles, you guys... Seriously, try saying it 3 times fast. Anyways.
Should we try it right now?
Peter Parker's particles.
Peter Parker's particles. Peter Parker's particles.
No Peters. Peter Parker's. Anyways, so, after being hit by the particles...
Peter Pepper's...
Andy Maguire realized that he had superpowers. He had all of the superpowers. Catch is, he could only use them one at a time. So, he was an immature kid, did some bad stuff, was mentored a little bit by Amazing Spider-Man. That didn't go very well, and Horizon Labs decided that he wasn't ready for the responsibility yet, and they took his powers away.
As the old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. And then a dead uncle.
As the new Spider-Man, also known as Otto Octavius, likes to say, with great power comes great opportunity. Sorry, I got distracted. So in this book, Andy has to go once a month to Horizon Labs to check his power levels. And make sure that he, doesn't have any. When he goes to Horizon Labs this time, he gets given back 10% of his powers by Peter Parker, who we all know is Otto Octavius.
Yeah.
It's a good book. I enjoyed it. You may not be able to tell because I've been a little all over the place, but it's a
the book is kind of all over the place as well, yes. Artistically, so...
Artistically speaking, it's not great art. I like the direction of the story, though.
It's pretty darn simplistic, art-wise.
But
it works.
I'm okay with that in a 6-issue miniseries, which is what this is. So, for 6 issues, I think you guys should check it out, because it's a cute story, and Andy Maguire just sort of warmed my heart a little bit. So, check it out, and give it a chance.
Alright, next up, we go back to World War II in Fever Ridge, A Tale of MacArthur's Jungle War. In this one, we followed the exploits of the 6th Infantry Division and their jungle commandos, the Alamo Scouts. Basically, this happens in the South Pacific Theater of World War II, or Okinawa, Japan, and whatnot. So the jungles and...
South Pacific?
Yeah, I don't know. It's near Japan. But
all we need to know is it happens in jungles.
Yes. And this is apparently based off true stories of the uncle of the creator here, Neil Runge. Now, artwork-wise, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. But wow, is it talkative. This one actually took me quite a while to actually get into and read, because there's just so much exposition and talking and military jargon and everything, and you're just going, get on with the story.
Give me some action.
And then the action happens.
Is it over like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's very
just like war. It's pretty much just like war, because it was war. So, I can't highly recommend it. It's a beautiful book to look at, and it's always great to tell untold stories of heroes.
I'm totally with you on untold stories. I'm going to disagree with you on the art.
Okay.
The art I felt was mediocre at best, but I'm not a fan of the sketchier art.
Yeah.
Where they show shadowing with lines. I'm just not... It's not for me.
It's not for everyone, but that's okay. I still enjoyed it enough, but unless you're a really big World War II buff and whatnot, then there's really not much here to offer you. But if you are interested in the true stories of who these people were, this is a great way to learn about their exploits in World War II.
And this one is also a miniseries.
Yep.
Next up for me is an ongoing. It is the Justice League of America's Vibe, #1.
Oh god, that's the worst title ever.
Yeah, as superheroes go, he really... I think somebody had to have hated him when they chose that name.
Well, don't generally superheroes choose their own names, so...
No, actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, all right.
But it was kind of neat. So, in this one, when Darkseid invaded, Cisco Ramon was caught in the event horizon of the boom tube of one of Darkseid's parademons coming through. Unfortunately, when his eldest brother, Armando, pushed him out of the event horizon, it killed Armando. He was the very first victim of Darkseid.
Hooray!
Yeah, nothing...
Wait, well, boo.
Exactly. Not quite something that you want to, talk about and be proud of, but that's what happened. Cisco Ramon proceeded to continue with the rest of his life for the next 5 years. He got a job working at a Best Buy type thing. Dealt with the fact that nobody can take pictures of him because all of his pictures come up blurry. And just sort of carried on trying to go to college, wanting to make his older brother proud. Until one day when he's approached by a member of Argus and told that he's special. That the event horizon actually changed him on a fundamental molecular level, allowing him to sense event horizons and control vibrations and things like that. And that he was going to be the new Vibe. And he was pretty much told, you're going to join the Justice League and be Vibe. We need you. You have to do it.
We need you, Mr. Vibe.
For Armando, you have
terrible.
to do this. I wasn't very fond of the story. I just don't really care about the character at all.
It's very cliche at best.
Exactly. I felt like they could have tried a little bit harder. But I liked it a little more after reading Justice League of America. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see what happens with Vibe. The art was mediocre. It was very, very simple. There were parts where it was very sketchy. Yeah. It wasn't anything to write home to Mom about at all. But I think that Vibe has some good vibrations going for it.
Oh, oh, God.
Yeah, they made that joke, too.
Oh,
somebody
terrible.
In the book was like, I'm picking up good vibrations.
This is what we do, people. This is what we do. Alright, next up we have Vitriol, the Hunter. And in this one, as Basilica City's last great hope, Vitriol stands as the only force that can stop Lord Barthas and his vampire army from taking over the city.
Did you just say that he had to stop Lord Barthas?
Barthas.
Oh, Barthas with a TH.
Yes.
Not Barfus as in...
No. Okay. Barthas, not Barf.
Whoops.
But that would be hilarious if that was his name.
I know!
Alright, so, this is another comic from a band. This is actually drawn by the guitarist for Good Charlotte, Billy Martin. And there's an actual soundtrack for this that you can listen to for free online. So...
Did you do that thing where you read Vitriol and then you listened to the soundtrack and then reread it?
Yeah, I did.
Did it help?
Not really.
Ooh.
I could not get really into the music, and it didn't really help move the story along, whereas Milo Xyloto helped move the story along. Right. And explain what was going on and really worked for the actual world that they are in.
Okay.
This did not work at all. Artwork-wise, it's okay. But there are moments where he shows where he's not exactly the best artistically. There's sparks of amateurishness in it, but it's okay. It's really colorful.
I loved that it was colorful.
It's got some really nice backgrounds and stuff like that, and the characters are well enough done that you know who they are.
They felt consistent when I flipped through it.
And that's okay, and there's nothing really bad about this book. It's just that the soundtrack did not work.
There's nothing really bad, it's just that there also isn't anything really good.
Pretty much. So I can't highly recommend it, but, I mean, if you are a fan of Good Charlotte, you're not gonna like it, honestly, because I also listen to some Good Charlotte, and the stuff that he does for the soundtrack for this is nothing like that.
So are you suggesting then that Billy Martin may be served by picking up his guitar instead of a pencil?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't highly recommend it, but if you want to try something a little different, do check it out, but I just couldn't get into it. So if you want another really good musically based comic, pick up Milo Xyloto.
Next up for me is Nova #1 from Marvel Now. And in this one, Sam Alexander spends his entire life hearing stories from his dad about his time with the Novas. His dad, now 15 years later, works as a custodial engineer for...
So he's a janitor.
He's not a janitor, he's a custodial engineer.
He's a janitor.
For the local high school.
He's a janitor.
He's a custodial engineer in the high school of the appropriately named
Alright, he's a janitor / plumber. He's a janitor.
He's a janitor in the high school in Carefree, Arizona. But
wow,
Sam Alexander...
That's the worst possible name for a city ever.
I think it's great. What are you talking about?
Their murder rate must be really high.
I would love to live in Carefree. Just so that every time I left, I could see the sign that says...
You are now living carefree.
Exactly.
Oh.
So, Sam Alexander, at 15 years of age, is a full-time high school student.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's 15, that's kind of a...
part-time father figure to his younger sister.
Okay.
A part-time
For a second there, I thought you were going to say he's a father, too. I'm like, ah!
A part-time custodial engineer when his dad is too drunk to come into work.
Janitor.
And general man about the house. He's very cynical, very intelligent, and has very little time now for his dad's tales of Nova. But all that changes one day when he wakes up in a hospital with Rocket Raccoon standing on his chest.
And that's never a good way to wake up.
I think it'd be great to wake up to a talking raccoon. What are you talking about?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that he would probably sound like Liam Neeson, and that would be terrifying.
Terrifyingly awesome, maybe. So, this book was a little slow to start. We don't actually see Sam Alexander in the Nova helmet.
Okay.
We don't really see
So the
much of
cover
anything.
lies, then.
Yes, it's very, very much an introduction to who Sam Alexander is and the sort of scenarios that he's been dealing with as a 15-year-old.
Janitor.
But I thought it was good. I'm probably going to read the #2 just to see what Rocket Raccoon has to say. And
It will probably be terrifying.
And I really hope that you guys give this one a chance.
I just hope Rocket Raccoon doesn't have rabies.
Why would he have rabies?
Well, he's mad all the time.
You'd be mad too if people kept, slamming you for the fact that you're a talking raccoon without giving you a chance.
He's a raccoon from space.
All the better. He's a Martian raccoon.
I don't think he's from Mars.
Don't worry, Rocket Raccoon. I'm on your side.
All right. So next up, we have My Little Pony Twilight Sparkle.
Number 1 of 6.
Number 1 of 6. This is basically a micro-series that each issue in this 6-issue series will be focusing on a different member of the main 6.
Okay.
So if you're a fan of My Little Pony, this is the perfect way to get introduced to each of the characters.
Wait a second. So they're going to do all of the main characters?
Pretty much.
Which means that there's going to be a Pinkie Pie one?
Yep.
Dibs on it right now.
That's fine. It's yours. Alright. So, in this one, Twilight Sparkle must help out at the Royal Archives while the archivist is injured. But Twilight discovers the archivist may not be who she claims to be.
Is she secretly a custodial engineer?
She's not a janitor. But she does hold a deep, dark secret.
Poor lady.
Anyway, this one's okay. I mean, if you're a pony fan, you're going to enjoy it, and it's silly, and it's cute, and it's really, really predictable.
Would you suggest that this one, as compared to the Friendship is Magic title, is more geared to a younger audience?
Oh, very much so.
Whereas
yeah.
Friendship is Magic is geared towards anybody who likes cute things?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
This one's simplistic in its plot and simplistic in its style. And it works that way. That's fine. It looks really nice. It's got good flow to it. Mm-hmm. And it does work for what it needs to do. So I can't judge it on that, because it's just perfect that way. But if you're a fan of ponies, you're going to like it. It's fun. It's meant to be that way. It's silly and not meant to be taken seriously. So, if you're a fan of ponies, check it out. I enjoyed it, even as not really a brony, but as just a fan, because it's silly. So, do check it out if you get a chance.
Alrighty.
Especially if you have a little girl.
Last up for me on the table today is Justice League of America, number 1.
And there are 53 covers for this book.
Yes, this is the primary cover. They did an alternate cover with every state flag. Or rather, with each state flag, I should say. Which was really neat. I also really enjoyed that they told you which state it was on the cover. So that was pretty happy. So, in this, Amanda Waller is establishing a Justice League of America, because she would like to have a Justice League in place that is a more controlled group of superheroes. A league that can take on the Justice League if they have to.
That could turn out very badly.
Yep. That's what I was just thinking. But it throws together a team composed of Stargirl, Savage Hawkman, Vibe, Katana, Catwoman...
Vibe.
The new Green Lantern, Baz, they don't actually say his name in the book, but the new one, and Martian Manhunter. So it's quite an extensive team. We didn't get to see much of them. We did, however, get to see the invitation extended to Catwoman, which was cool. We don't really learn a lot in this book. We learn more about Amanda Waller.
So it's more about exposition and...
It's more about Amanda Waller and learning what she's up to and about the governmental aspect of establishing a Justice League of America than it is about the actual team. It was very much like Team 7.
I can just imagine that. Hey, America, put your tax dollars towards this.
Yeah, that'd go really well.
Ooh.
And this book is set right after the Justice League number 17, which is the wrap-up for the Throne of Atlantis storyline. And Amanda Waller's intending to introduce the Justice League of America, while America is upset with the Justice League because of Throne of Atlantis. which I didn't pick up any Throne of Atlantis, so I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'm assuming that there was death and destruction.
Oh, yeah. There always is in those big crossovers.
I can't highly recommend this book on its own merit because it was very slow. It was very much a character introduction, giving you a face to put with the name, and a little bit about some of these characters that we don't know anything about, like Stargirl.
Yeah.
But I have hopes for it going forward because Amanda Waller seems to be a little more creepy and messed up than what I anticipated. So
she is a bit
give it a chance, and you guys hang out with Jim. I'll be right back.
All right. And last and certainly not least, we have The Shadow, Year 1. And in this one, shrouded in mystery, the Shadow's true origin is finally revealed as we learn how he first developed his persona as the Master of Darkness. All right. So, this delves into the Shadow's past and how he became the Shadow.
Does it delve into his first year as the Shadow?
No, of course not. Why would it be called Year 1 if it didn't do that? Alright, so this is interesting, alright? If you're a longtime fan of the Shadow, this is a really good introduction to the character and his menagerie of supporting characters and cast. The art here is really nice, and the story is pretty darn fantastic. I can't highly recommend it unless you are an absolute fan of the Shadow, though. But it's really a good introduction if you want to try it out.
Why wouldn't you recommend it unless you're a fan?
Because really the Shadow is really hard to sell unless you're a fan of the Shadow. There's just so many people that just don't get it or get him as a character.
Alright.
So honestly, unless you really know the character, you're not going to be able to get into this.
Okay.
And with the character's history of over 70 years, it's really hard to get into someone who's been so long-lived and so, well, there's been good adaptations and bad adaptations.
Okay.
So this is a good one, though. I did enjoy it. But like I said, unless you're a fan of the Shadow, you're probably not going to be able to get into it. But I do recommend it. But only really if you're a fan of the Shadow, or if you want to try out the Shadow, then this is the perfect introduction. So do check it out. But like I said, I can't recommend it to everyone. Alright, so that brings us to the close of another exciting episode. We will see you next week with a couple more comic book reviews. We're going to take some time out and... well, I got to ship off a Wii U to Nintendo for breaking down, and Julie's got to take care of watching the end of Tron Uprising. So we will see you next week.
Take care, guys.